they go along. I don't like when people say, oh, let's have a lesson on technique, but now we didn't do enough music. No, music comes from the technique, and technique is to serve the music, and they coexist together all the time. That's really important.
Hello, everyone. We are here with Amit Peled, professor of cello at Peabody Conservatory, international soloist, and in demand all over the world as a teacher and a player and a chamber musician. You can go, I'll put some links down in the description. You can go read his full bio. I won't take the time to go through the whole thing because it would take our entire time here. It is an extensive list of incredible things that he has done all over the place. Amit, welcome. We are excited that to talk to you today.
It's great to be here, and I want to congratulate you first for your work for the cello world, and all the links and the videos, and it's really great. So bravo to you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, trying to further the cause here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, question I always love to ask guests here about listening. It's my passion project here. You know, we as professionals, when you've reached a certain level as you have, you are hearing things, you know, that other mere mortals are not. You know, you're listening in a way that is different. And how do you define that difference, or start to define that difference? That's a very open-ended question. Like, you know, how are you? What are you hearing that your students are not hearing, or what are you hearing? You think that the average audience member is not that it's a snobby thing, or oh, I know something more, but just like we, you know, obviously we hear something and that, you know, propels us to do what we do. And how do you think about that? How do you talk about that difference in listening to the instrument and listening to what you're playing?
It's a very good question. I mean, you know, if I can refer it to any other subject in the world, like if you're a wine connoisseur, or if you like cigars like me, or if you like sports, you know, many of us watch sport. You know, when you're into soccer and you really play the game and you watch a game, you see much more, or football, American football, or basketball. You look at plays, and you look at defense, you look at offense, different than somebody average that watch a game. However, the enjoyment of the game could be equal or even more for somebody who knows less. So our job as performers is, first and foremost, I think, is to treat the majority of audience, not the sophisticated one. So I'm playing cello, I'm communicating music to the majority of people. And I believe really strongly that if I do it well, like Greenhouse, my teacher used to say, the great cellist Bernard Greenhouse, is that if when he played in Germany, for instance, there would be always somebody with a score in the audience coming up to him after the contest, says, Mr. Greenhouse, why did you play a down bow here? Or why didn't you separate the bow as Beethoven wanted and you played it in one bow? And he said, I never played for those people. I played for the 99.9% rest of them who came to cry and laugh and enjoy the concert. However, I aim in my practice to please that one person with a score, which is basically us. So I think what I tell my students is always, you need to hear better, you need to control better, and you need to produce better. However, for the old lady in the audience, she needs to cry somehow. And she needs to feel that you're really into it. And into it meaning I'm not doing it just mechanically. So there are many levels to it as a professional. Like when you drink a really expensive bottle of wine and you understand in it, you will smell it first. You will let it sit for a little bit. It will have to be 64 degrees. Otherwise, you wouldn't even touch it before you drink it. And you'll have to drink it through a certain glass bottle. Otherwise, you won't be able to smell and affect you. So there's so many layers to it. However, if you don't understand in it, like me, you give me a good glass of wine, I would appreciate it probably just having it in my glass and drink it. So where do you communicate as a wine connoisseur or as just somebody who likes a glass of wine in the evening? Same with music. Do I approach it to please the 99% or the 1%? It's always a big question as a musician, but I think for what I do myself, I try to be true to the score, but also never, ever, ever to forget that I'm communicating to people in front of me.
Hmm.
So it doesn't have to be a show, but
Right.
you have to, a lot of people say, they don't never look up. They're always stuck in the score. They try to do things that maybe will please the score, but will never agree to the fact that there are 100 or 200 or 2,000 people in front of them that paid money to be entertained. And that doesn't mean you have to make a show, but you have to really acknowledge the fact that they're there. So I work a lot with my students, a lot about the communication skills to make sure that the audience understand that you are like them, you're human and you're communicating.
I was going to ask one follow-up question. You mentioned this phrase, getting into it. Thinking about the emotional part of us playing, right? Like showing that to the audience that we are into it, that we're putting something to the instrument. Do you think there's a connection between when we get into it, all right, if you could unpack that a little bit, and what you mentioned about knowing, when you mentioned like the wine, like all the different things, is there something about getting into it that allows us to notice more of those bullet points there in the
Absolutely.
sound?
Yeah, it's a good follow-up. I look, we are dealing with a language, and the language is not English at this point. It's not Hebrew. It's not German. It's music.
Mm.
But the language communicates a story. And I always tell my students, for instance, in Beethoven, we have a lot of subitos,
Mm-hmm.
a subito forte, a subito piano. I always make them understand that a subito is a quality that makes an actor being surprised every single night on stage. I mean, you have to surprise yourself, not the audience. So if you can be surprised, being scared at the moment, da dee da da dee. I mean, I do that in a lesson, and they jump, and I say, yeah.
Right.
Now try to do that to yourself,
Mm.
knowing that you need to be surprised here. That's being Dustin Hoffman. That's being a great actor.
Right.
Imagine a great actor doing Shakespeare, and every single night for 90 nights in a row, trying to surprise themselves in a scene that they know that they need to be surprised. That's the level of getting into the score or into the play or into the story that
Right.
we as actors need to get into. So if I can find a way to make forte piano a real forte piano for me, the old lady will get it, and the German guy with the score will get it as well.
Okay.
But that means I'm a phenomenal actor
Right.
and I'm delivering the story in the best way. That's what actors do in the theater.
Right.
That's what they do. So if I can do it with the cello, meaning if I can take the text that the composer gave me and I can make it alive, I can make it alive, meaning I will do all the articulation, I will do all the dynamics, but I will also have a story behind it.
Hmm.
And the story will follow me like a movie in front of me while I'm presenting the text. The audience will understand it in all different levels. In the level of the old lady who doesn't know anything about music, the farmer who came because their grandchild plays cello and they had to bring them in,
Hmm.
and the cello teacher who came there maybe not to like you even because why you are not them, and they will be surprised by what you just did
Wow.
or
Okay.
touched, I would say.
Okay. That's a great.
So it
That's.
is like theater. It is presenting a story. And
Hmm.
I just taught now at the Heifetz Institute, and
Hmm.
somebody very talented played the Schubert arpeggione for me.
Right.
And in the second movement, ta dee da da, he played really well, but he played like in a snowball. I call it very small, very tiny, beautiful sound, but very intimate and small. Nobody would have heard it or would have understand the emotions in a big hall.
Right.
And I asked him, what would you think of Schubert? If you think of Schubert, what form of music would it be? And immediately he said, oh, songs, he wrote 600 songs. Okay, and I asked him, could you put words to it? And I said, I'll start it for you. I love you. And then he couldn't continue. I said, just continue it. And I helped him. So much I love you. Will you marry me? Please marry me now. Something like this.
Right.
And I asked him to sing it with the piano. And all of a sudden was, I love you. The you was a punchline.
Right.
So much I love you. I love. You emphasize the love. And all of a sudden, there were vowels, there were consonants, there were
Hmm.
meaning with words. And we kept going through the whole movement. And he was just kind of blown away. I'm playing a B, going to an E, going to an F sharp, shifting to a G sharp, emphasizing the B because it's the highest note. But I wish somebody would have recorded that lesson because
Hmm.
it became a story.
Right.
And it sounds a little cheesy or artificial, but the moment you put the tools or the abilities that he has as an actor into a story with meaning and into respecting what Schubert most likely had in mind because he thought in words.
Right.
And he didn't speak German, that student, for me to actually do it in German because that would be the exact vowels and consonants, but it was
Hmm.
in English and it was enough. And it was like breaking a frame that this kid was in. And I think
That's
if
a
you are
great
a,
way. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
yeah, and we had audience in that class, so he was very intimidated at first.
Yeah.
But I referred it right away to drama and
Hmm.
to acting, and it is acting. It's just we are using different voice and different words.
I
We're
do
not.
this all the time. I do this all the time in lessons. I sing and make up words. I do it in class, and I try to get the students. You're exactly right. It's like trying to get them to just emote and get into and break out of the frame to understand it in a different context. I try so hard all the time to get them to
Yeah.
sing along with me. It's hard. It's hard.
Well, singing is number one, but of course, if you play Beethoven, I would always ask them to orchestrate it. If you play
Mm,
Beethoven third, we all know it. Ti, di, do. And when you think of Beethoven, of course, everything is great, but it's symphonies. Ta 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 ta. So if you orchestrate that sonata, it starts with the Berlin Philharmonic cello section,
right.
just cellos alone, and then the double basses join, and then it's the first flutist. I mean, you can just see it in front of you, the
Right.
wind, and it's a whole symphony. If it's Mozart, it's always an aria. So if you play Mozart piano concerto, if you play Mozart, it's always a soprano singing in front of the audience. So you need to know what the composer is really thinking naturally of, and then take it from there. But Schubert, of course, it's those songs and
Right.
the drama in the songs. In the Schubert second movement, da di di la da da di. That's obviously the father coming in and
Right.
being upset at his daughter. That why did you go with that guy or
Right.
whatever. But it's not just an accent. And when
Right.
the
Right. Right. Right.
person understands that, even if you're a 14-year-old, when you understand, or you play the imaginary game.
Right.
If it's for elegy and it's a funeral, maybe you've never been in a funeral, and that's good. So, but you've seen movies, you can have
Right.
an image in front of you. If you're not fully connected to it emotionally, the old lady, the guy with the score, or the one that loves the red
Hmm.
wine, at 64 degrees, they will not get it. However, if you do, all of them will get it
Hmm.
in their own level and be touched and be moved.
This is this is one of the hardest concepts to pass on to students, that because it's so much nuance in the actual sound, but it's important nuance. And I tell them, if you're thinking it, if you're doing it on the inside, it comes out in the sound. It just does. It's
Yeah.
inexplicable, but especially younger students, it's like trying to convince them of that. It is difficult. It is difficult. I want to ask you,
Yeah,
you're
well,
learning you're learning
I want to make I want to make sure that we're clear that we're talking about emotions here and delivering a story, but the technique of doing it
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
is as important, and
Right.
as nothing comes just because you feel it. Nothing.
Right. Right.
You have to know how to deliver it cellistically, or if you're an actor, as an actor with your face expression and voice, or etc., etc. So they go along. I don't like when people say, "Oh, let's have a lesson on technique," but now we didn't do enough music. No,
Right.
music comes from the technique, and technique is to serve the music, and they coexist together
Right.
all the
Right.
time. That's really important
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to make that point.
Well, but and I asked because if we should spend more time on one or the other, or if we should at some point try to get away from separating them so much. Yes, they're both equally important, and how do you bring them along at the same time is one question that's always on my mind. How do you keep raising the level of technique and keep raising the level of musicianship
Well,
along
it
with it?
really depends. It depends on in which year you're in medical school, basically. It's the same
Okay.
thing. The first 2 years I mean, first to get into medical school, you have to show talent. You have to show that you
Right.
understand science, that you can see a dead body, that you can see body parts and not throw up and deal with it.
Right.
So with music is, can you sing in tune?
Hmm.
Can you make naturally a good sound? Do you have physical facility?
Right.
Then comes 2 3 years of purely knowledge. I mean, nobody touched a body before they know all the medical history and how the body parts exist and so on. And then even when you become a doctor and you're in in medical facility, you stand next to a doctor. You don't operate. You
Right.
don't
That's true.
give prescriptions. It takes years and years. So same in music. People think, oh, I'm in music, so I want to play a Rachmaninoff sonata.
Right.
Yeah, sure, it's great, but you don't have the voice for it.
Right.
Wait a second. That's why a lot of my students, I tell, play a Vivaldi sonata. Play, of course, Bach, but play the etudes. Master the language before you can recite Shakespeare.
Right.
Master it. And then while you're doing it, always find a
Hmm.
piece that within that level
Right.
you can express emotions, of course. I mean, can you, for one of the pieces I love teaching and playing is the Eccles Sonata, which is
Hmm.
like in book 3 Suzuki, I don't even know, one of those early books.
Right.
So what? How many cellists can play legato and can sustain a sound and can vibrate freely between notes
Yes.
and, God forbid, play in tune? One phrase in Eccles Sonata. It's not
I,
easy.
I, I go through this all the time with
Yeah,
students. It's
so
like,
so yes, the question of balance between which year are you in medical school?
right. It's a good
Are
way to
you a
put it.
brilliant are you a brilliant doctor? Now, do you want to go for residency? So you come to study with a great master, but
Right.
that master will give you, like the cello gang for me, when I include my students with me on stage and take them on tour, that's being a resident.
Right.
That's exactly,
Okay.
you can do it now, but you do it next to somebody with experience. But you're doing it. You're in the hospital. You're responsible. And if you're good enough, I might give you the operation knife.
Right.
Just, or I might let you just close in, or,
Hmm.
or open up the body, or whatever it
Right.
is. You're with me on stage now. Things are going to happen. A blackout will appear.
Right.
Somebody will shout in the audience.
Right.
They'll start moving around and you have to feel that you have to do something. All of those things you're now a resident.
Hmm.
Now, once you're done with me in medical school, in music school,
Right.
and residency and the cello gang, being on stage, being paid to play your part, you get paid for it always. Now you're a doctor. Now go out to the world, do it yourself. But that
Right.
stage of being a resident is really important. So
Hmm.
there's always this balance. Sometimes I have students that are so much in the books and learning the technique, like
Right.
the scales, the double stops, which we do all the time,
Right.
that I find that giving them a monologue by Shakespeare would inspire them, even though they can't do it. So, in my early years of teaching, I would keep pushing them to just do the scales.
Right.
However, now, while they're doing it, I will ask them, what is the piece that excites you most about cello?
Hmm.
And they'll say, oh, I don't know, Chopin Sonata, slow movement. Good,
Hmm.
take it, play it. Or Prokofiev Symphony Concertante. They can't play it. But I tell them, okay, spend half an hour a day playing it, bring it to the next lesson, get excited about it so we remember why we're
Right.
learning how to hold the tools and use the tools.
Right.
But still at the same time, I find and I want them to realize without the tools,
Right.
without the knowledge, without being able to play in tune with good sound, to have a sense of pulse, to understand how to read the score, you're in the wrong business. Someday, very soon, outside of this laboratory, which is our studio, you will get kicked in your face and you will realize that what we
Yeah.
did here, that basically that I was right. It was out of tune.
Right.
The sound is not good. You don't know how
True.
to produce it. You don't know how to do it. You're not free enough to do it. And it will be a big shock for you. So it's always good to put it in their face, the truth,
Right.
but at the same time to remind them all the time why they're doing it. You
Right.
know, what, in the first place makes all of us excited about this piece of wood that is so hard to manage.
Thanks for answering all these questions, by the way, because
Oh,
there's
pleasure.
there's so much of you talking about actually lots of nuts and bolts things online, and so it's great to hear you talk about some of these other ideas. But since I did say that, if we have time for one more, if you're okay, uh,
Absolutely, yeah.
what are, speaking of nuts and bolts, what are some foundational things that you see when students come to you that they, you know, because you like you say, you see a lot of high level students. So maybe we're talking, or maybe they've just transferred, just like their first year of their master's or their first year of undergrad. What do you find to be the most missing thing, the most missing, what you consider foundational to playing, when
Oh,
students come
it's
to you?
it's very easy. I mean, people carry with their talents very to a very high level, but when you get to your early 20s, your body start telling you, I can't do it anymore. So all across the board, it's not just be relaxed, it's how to make your body your Stradivarius and not your cello. So don't look for a good
Mm-hmm.
instrument or good bow. Learn how your body can make a good sound.
Hmm.
So I my motto, I don't know if you can see it. I have this tattoo on my hand.
Yeah.
Uh, well, it's I can send you a photo of it, but it
Sure.
says it's I call it cello DNA, and it's BBEM, BBEM, which
Right.
stands for breathe, bounce, elbows, and movement. So those are the four fundamentals. I call them the general commands, like how your body should behave in a productive mode. It doesn't have
Hmm.
to be a cellist, it could be an athlete. We are
Right.
musical athletes anyway. Could be in a job interview, could be a lawyer in front of jury. If those four fundamentals, can you breathe in and out? Do you know how to breathe?
Hmm.
Can you bounce your body? So when you freak out, can you, instead of tied up, bounce it?
Hmm.
Where are your elbows? Our elbows, when we eat, when we write emails, when we're productive, they're usually lower than our wrists. Where are
Right.
your elbows? Can you control them? And finally, can your body move in a reaction to the fourth movement? So if you have a down bow, what does the rest of your body needs to do when you have a down bow or an up bow
Hmm.
or when you shift? When you shift, you're moving your elbow and your arm, but your hips should react and so on. So BBAM is the number one DNA
Hmm.
quality for human, I think. And then you have local commands.
Right.
Local commands are what the hell are you doing with your fingers, with your arms when you play. So I have, we can get into it right now, but I have basically there. I call them the 10 Commandments, but it's a
Right.
local commands and it's a general command. And if you're able, and each one of them has a lot of subtitles, but it's all body control movements. And if on any given note on the repertoire, any given note, you can control all 10 commandments, you are free to deliver the story.
Hmm.
And it takes years and years journey, and I'm in the journey too. And I look at LeBron James, I look at Roger Federer, and I look at all those athletes. It's the same journey. Can you make your body your best friend and not your biggest enemy? Because if it's your best friend,
Hmm.
you will be able to deliver the story in the best way. So this is just the tip of the ice, the general command, the BBAM, and the local command, the how to shift, how to lift your fingers, how to pitch them on the way back, how to jump. It's basically when we play the cello, we walk in the same place, we run in the same place, and
Right.
we jump between places. So how do you walk? How do you run? How do you jump? When somebody has, God forbid, a car accident and they hit their head and they forget how to walk, how to jump, how to run, they go to rehab facility. They have a special trainer that teaches them from day one how to walk. What do you need to do to lift your leg? What do you need to do when you jump? You need to prepare motions. You
Right.
need to leave the ground. So all of those motions, we don't imitate them from age one from our parents. We need to learn how to do them if we want to be completely free as a musical athlete. So this is just the tip of the ice, what I would have to do in undergrad, in graduate, in real life. Myself, that's why I tattooed it, because when I sit on stage, if I cannot be by myself when I start at Dvorak, it's not going to be good.
Well, if I've heard you talk about this before, and it is incredible, and there is a whole lot more to it. So I will make sure for all of you watching out there that I link up some things down in the description so that they can hear, because it is incredible information to listen to. It is gold. It is $10,000, $1 million advice. So I'll put some links down there. Is there anything else for the audience here? And where can people find you online?
Oh, well, thank you. First of all, I have a website. It's just my name.com, amitpeled.com, and most information would be driven from there. You have links for everything. Social media, I'm big on that. My students and my kids convince me that that's where I should be. So
Thank
I
goodness
like
for the rest of us.
well, I have to be honest. I like, people say, can I listen to the lesson or can I record it? I really believe in no secrets. We don't have any. If I can share this information and explain it even a little better, why not? And
Yeah.
I've found so many people around the world coming and say, oh, I watched that video. I've seen that. Thank you so much. It means so much to me. And I also have a book. It's called The First Hour. And it's very selfishly the first hour that I do every day. I believe that mastering those commands, one needs to go to the gym before running on the field. And that gym, for me, is called the first hour. And I teach with what I call cello emojis. And everything that I teach, I do myself. If anybody wants to buy the first hour book, it's easy to find it online, on Amazon, whatever.
Okay.
And
Yeah. We'll
I
definitely
have,
link
yeah,
that
and
up down there. Yeah.
yeah, and the first hour is a book of patterns that I myself do every single day. I just did it before the interview. I woke up at 6 so I can do it before. I try not to present myself to the world before I brush my cello tooth, which means I clean myself up. And
It does center us, doesn't it? Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, there are a lot of videos, and if somebody is really interested, I also have a 7-hour, 7-meeting course that I do online. I did it in the pandemic, but now people can just sign up for it, and I can send them the unlisted link for not a high price, and
Right.
they can follow up the 7 hours, one
Okay.
hour a week, and basically go through the book with me, as I
Okay.
did during the pandemic with many students around the world.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. We'll put some links down there to all of that so people can access it. That'll be fantastic.
Thank you
Um,
so much.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. No, thank you. Thank you for being here. Happy to do that, and excited for everyone out there to get access to those things. Well, it has been
Thank you.
great talking to you. This has been Amit Peled, fantastic cellist, which doesn't even cut it. I hope that you will go and check out some of these resources. Check out his playing. There's lots and lots of videos of him playing.
Thank you. Thank you.
You will learn so much just by listening. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Musical Listening Podcast, especially this, our first interview episode. Please let me know what you think of it. If you'd like to hear more of this and who we should bring on the show here. And please rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts so this can reach more people. It is only my hope and dream that we can change how we talk about listening so that we can help more people, help each other, help our fellow musicians be be the musical creatives out in the world that they want to be, and how can we further that along. So thank you for listening. Thanks for helping support that, and I will see you in the next episode.